After that, I don't know what to say. This is actually, I'm sorry, there's no bondage in this book. I mean, we can talk about that later if you like, but Dina, we'll see what happens. But no bondage. It's just a lot of words and a lot of people to say thank you to. Some of whom are in this room. Everyone at Talon, Kevin and Katrina, and everyone else who worked on this book. Les Smith's amazing cover and internal design. I was saying to him earlier, of all my books, I think this is the most beautiful of them. Never mind the content, just the design and all that. It's kind of 3 long poems. So we're on a long poem night tonight after Sharon's amazing reading. And her work has certainly been very important to me. So, although this is very different than anything she's done. Hers is much better. There are three long poems in here. The first one is actually sort of a Lent poem, and it's almost the end of Lent for those who practice, which I don't. So we'll avoid that poem. Then the second part is this middle of the book. It's 120 sections, and it takes about an hour and a bit to read. So, did everyone get a drink before? No, we won't do that either. I'm going to read from the third part, and what I've done in the past with readings like this, where things just go on and on and on, is to set a timer and just stop when the timer goes off. I won't do that. I'll just read, and I think I know where to stop. I won't read the whole thing again. It's in 40 parts, and I'm not going to take breaks in between the parts. If anybody's curious, the parts are all 9 lines long, 3 tercets each, and that tercet thing is important to the book. So this microphone gets in the way of seeing. How about that? No, that doesn't work. This. Okay, so the third part is called Beginning Again and Again is a Natural Thing Even When There Is a Series, which is from Gertrude Stein. Or the wind, crowded with voice, a matter of taking dictation, translating the only one who knows that language and recalls sublime moments thought swerved at the edge of. All the seas below and rushing, no hierarchy of oceans. A brief glimpse past the door, closing behind someone leaving, waking up from another library dream, the same book on every shelf, this new life, La Vita Nuova, new poems, something like that. Dark oak clouds blowing through the strange, empty, crowded room, lost in their overcoats at every table, muttering to themselves, warm gray wool. Piles and stacks and scraps, broken clay pots, describing things that happened or could have, a sudden gust of wind, paper blue sky and geometry, mountain or flat land, industrial park, a red scarf. This new life confessional or abstract, deep or shallow, unrhymed, beginning or end as if unscattered and whole when broken. There's no repair. Words catch and snag and shatter. The silence after neither redemption nor respite. To want to pour jewels out on the sidewalk, but who will see them? Death will see them, knowing the words without reading being the words I can't recite. A prescribed litany, names of angels or hours in definite order, implicate order, each touching the other, infinitely far from the other. No longer traveling. At home, both the east wall and the west have windows covered by tangled vines. Beyond one, a silver mountain. Beyond the other, a towering iron cliff. At sunrise in slant light, recalling shallow sleep, on fast trains in the past I sit, seeing them both, the empty room, awaiting half a phrase. But whose words, anyway? Not much art in them. And if some sense made it through regardless, Orpheus coming up the subway stairs, Spring Street again, raining again, still seeing Eurydice fixed in imagination unchanging and eternal, always at the edge of ending endlessly. Of course, you have to change the names. Temptation to escape into ornament, archive embroidery, the brocade of sky or palladium. Places spread out, a cloak or a bedsheet, like gray wool a bit moth-eaten, crumbling into white. Where did they come from and where did they go? The simple turn off the path this time, hillside to mountainside, gray clouds pleated far above blue, but still the simple urge to lie down pillowed on stone, wait for nightfall, stars. Right now recedes to now left over. In this moment, decades, half a conversation under machines and children and wind in the leaves. Bicycle, dog, cicada, no pattern, black, red, black, perfect posture, no scent, no smoke, cool enough in the shade. Table, green, silver graffiti, aluminum. Past unraveled through text. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Past unraveled, though text remains. Read, reread, uncertain how the one who wrote managed now. Unclear how the clarity that seems was. The smoke from too many bonfires of books between us. What's past is somewhere I lost track, blacked out, and anesthesia, cold slippage. Light fading and rain again. Light rain asking if I will fade into weather. Well, we all will. Is this what this is when you can say the light has faded completely? Rain continues? Looked at in the absence of the future, there is only history, and all the names worn from gravestones by weather, or perhaps that's just a particularly regular slab of stone. Quarried, never used, spotted by lichen, etched by rain. Looked at in the absence of the future, can memory be present, memory turning, the line rewritten, To undo these messengers who see everything, who remember nothing, who speak in silence or rumored thunder never heard here, imagined maybe, and how to undo imagination or lost desire, no desire. Isn't lost twilight, gray, purple, damson night, later barely remembering what isn't remembered? We didn't write letters then. Lines getting shorter and shorter, everything touching. Past perfected, well, completed perhaps only by death, but still or only quiet those years without society or solitude, looking out at imagined mountains, imagined wild, imagined paths, and just a brief glimpse, really, going nowhere alone or always alone. Today, cloud banners and clear, keen light. Let's say a book of hours. This one, fog, just above the trees, beyond oak trees, past the cemetery weeded Saturday by the townspeople. A broken bundle of mirrors, Pound wrote, but a different mirror, and by the bridge, convex, diverging. Another tower, far from the sea. No waves breaking, no wings overhead or seabirds' cries, no sails to watch for, white, black, red. Whose voice? A confusion of voices, mirrored sound unsourced and unrecognized. There should be a set text, an order, I said. Left with the decay of, rattle of, indrawn breath over thick air, cold air, to reduce to ashes. Every communication disconnected, no numbers, random numbers, zeros and ones with equal probability. Was that it? I've forgotten. Repeating myself again. Not the taste remembered, but the tasting. Some ground pepper, some coarse salt, dove in the tree by the door, laurel maybe, bay laurel, sweet bay, bay waves breaking below, not here. Because you want to look back from the end and see the whole thing. Sense completeness, pattern, order even in disorder, sorrow and joy unevenly distributed, causation clotted with regret, coincidence not to be ignored, not the same thing, or poetry, the right words stretched beyond. Can't say anymore, or exhausted by saying. Again, emptied out, there is no void. Vision and revision of creation and annihilation. Is this too much language? Was that it? I've forgotten. The first time you read those words, they seemed extraordinary. Perhaps they are or were. And in time, the experience is every day, or they tell you it is, if clearly seen, flowers and trees and dust on the books, the bookshelves. The neighbor's mailbox across the road, old postman's shuffle as he makes his way up the street in the early afternoon rain. Any season clearly seen, and no message in the seeing. No messengers, the empty details at arm's length. Entropy when this book is full. Start again, continuing. Repeat myself. Or not exactly, when really it's just this beside that, the same way this isn't this new life every moment. Not news, a clip, a loop, glitched apocalypse, empty structure, ritual, to move through, to live. No beginning again, always mislaying some capability or object, pen, keys, credit card, phone, despite the memory of each scrap of paper scattered on this one, a way of talking about death without using the word, as if feeling could be replaced with wanting to know for certain if something had been left out. Only the wind letting loose, repair and destruction, leaving all the rest in short phrases stretched across attention's sharp edges as fast clouds cataract the sky, the acid ocean exploding against its dark mathematics in every beauty or encrypted, inevitable, sublime, heart-clenched thought of numbers. That's a good place to stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Yeah, I love this. More long poems, please. Okay. I'm excited. I haven't seen this person in person for so long, and I'm really trying to hold it together, but I feel like I'm not. I was grinning at her like a real ding-dong earlier. So, but I couldn't control my excitement. So next we have poet and scholar, Atonya J. Okopatek, who has had her writing nominated for multiple awards and has won 2 so far. The Indie Fab Book of the Year Award for Poetry and the 2017 Glenna Lushi Prize for African Poetry. Of her book, 100 Days, the scholar John Keane writes, the lyric beauty, intertextual depth, and metonymic power of Okopatek's poetry underscores the capacities of art and language to cast light into the darkest corners of our human experience and bridge the gulfs that lie between us. She is also the first person who was subjected to the Can't Lit podcast live episode and was a great guest. As well, she is also the only person I know who has a shirt inspired by Jen Suk-Fong Lee that just says what Jen said. So there's only one in the world. She has it. I also want to say she is the only person I trust to and kind of want to currently read about, who is writing about the pandemic. So I am extremely, extremely glad that she chose to in Song and Dread. So come on up here.